Okay. Hello everybody, my name is Prism Master, and today I wanted to talk about, and this is something that a lot of people have been asking me lately, is that a lot of people have been asking what is my impressions um, of the Monarch patch notes. If you don't know what the patch notes are, I will do a short overview of each patch note as I'm talking about them. Um, yeah, and this is going to be coming out with Monarch, it's going to be pretty nice to see how everything is going to change Titan balance-wise because of the addition of Monarch. So let's talk about patch notes. So one of the first patch notes, this is going to be for general Titan combat, for all the Titans, of course, if you don't understand what that means. One of them is going to be that you will gain core from actually hitting shields. Now, that's a pretty big deal, as that will change why you shouldn't get a battery, because you get a battery, you get a core, and you get extra health, but however, you're making it more likely for someone with a high DPS to be able to get their core a lot quicker. So there is kind of a whole mix and match there. However, to compensate with this is that cores will now not be as oftenly regained. So for damaging, this was something that was used before. This was also a nerf last patch, if I remember correctly. But what this will do is that basically any sort of Titan is not going to gain their core as quickly. Now, I do believe this is a pretty good idea, but it might not even matter considering the shield that seems to reoccur. However, it's going to be pretty interesting, and I'm definitely going to enjoy seeing how different the Titan combat is in there. And there's also that you will be executed if you have shields now, that you actually can be executed while doomed and having shields. Now, this does take away some of the survivability for certain characters, such as Ronin. This is a direct nerf to Ronin and his survivability, because he's a close-range character, and most of the time when you're doomed, you try to get a battery so that you don't get executed, so you could, last a little longer. All the simple stuff. Now going into the nerfs. Well, not nerfs. There's nerfs and there's buffs and there's tweaking as well. But let's talk about Ion, because Ion is the only Titan that was actually, well, not the only Titan, because technically the Titan General did change a couple of ways in which you play with the other Titans. However, specifically for Ion, Ion was nerfed 3 times in a row. Ion was nerfed in 2 times with the laser shot, and was nerfed 1 time on laser core. Now, the first of the 2 laser shot nerfs is that laser shot will now deal less damage. So, while I can't give out the specifics of how much damage there is because we have to wait for the actual patch, the amount of damage that does come out of Ion's laser shot is usually somewhere around 1 bar of health, or about 9/10 of a bar most of the time, or 8/9. It's somewhere in between there. So it is going to deal less damage, maybe half a bar probably at most, maybe 2/3 a bar, somewhere around there. It's something that it's not useless, but it's not something that's powerful that would replace North Star, for example. And then the other nerf to laser shot, and I'm sorry if I keep saying all the time, but the other nerf to laser shot is that it consumes more energy. So laser shot will consume more energy. Well, we don't know how much more it will consume. It's obviously going to consume more than 50% of the energy bar, but we don't know really past that. It could be 60%, it could be 70% of the bar. For all we know, it could even be 90% for all we know. It could be anything, really. We really don't know just yet, so we're not going to go into extreme specifics on that. And also, they slightly reduced the damage of laser core. Now, a lot of people say, I don't know why. A lot of people talk about how they don't know why laser core was nerfed slightly in its damage. And actually, one of the main reasons is that laser core, at the time, was extremely, and I mean extremely powerful. I think at one point, I was playing with some friends or whatever. I brought down my Titan. They killed an entire 5-barred Legion, with a battery for that matter, with a regular laser core. Now, that is a lot compared to, say, salvo core, or also, say, to flight core. And Sword Core is kind of not as extremely quick, but it can still take down that much damage if you're able to get hits on those people. So there's kind of a bit of a weird niche with Sword Core. And Flame Core doesn't really do that type of damage. In Smart Core, it's kind of a bit of a mix, depending on if you can get out of the way of the bullets or not, or if you can directly hit a target or not. Yeah, but having this slight damage might not affect anything. It depends on how much slightly that they reduced it. If they reduced it slightly so that it wouldn't instantly tank a Legion or instantly tank a Scorch, then that's okay, because they do need some sort of survivability, and the fact that someone can easily get cored right off the bat is pretty ridiculous. But this might not even affect anything at all, so we're just have to see from there. Another thing that came up, and this is not for Titans only, is actually wait. Before I even get into anything more, I want to talk about Ion in particular, because a lot of people are saying that Ion is not a good Titan anymore, and that there's only technically 6 Titans when Monarch comes out, and that Ion's useless, and all this other stuff, so on and so forth. Now, the thing is that when it came down to Ion, Ion was a Titan that was very different from other Titans, because the only thing that Ion had is that Ion was so versatile and so strong in so many different ways that Ion never really had a counter. Yes, Ronin, many people say Ronin is a counter to Ion. Ronin was not really a counter to Ion more than being just a well-matched, because an Ion can stay away from Ronin as much as Ronin can try to get up close, and either way it can be a double-edged blade. It can be either side that wins. It could be Ronin or it could be Ion. It really just depends on how they're playing them, not just the Titan themselves. Now, when it comes down to Ion, like, you can even see, and usually in-game stats, like, a lot of people take in-game stats literally and say that this specific number in the in-game stats is exactly how it's supposed to be in the game, and that's just stupid. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be similar. It's supposed to be in a way of, how do I say this? You know what? Whatever. But if you actually look down, and this has always been here since the very beginning of the game, if you look down to where it says Ion and it says my generation of Ion and all that, and it talks about different tips, it says down there at the bottom that Ion is a 1-star damage character, a double-star health, and a double-star mobility. I'm just going to call 1-star low, double-star medium, and I'm also going to call 3 stars high, just to make it simple. And to be totally honest, a lot of these are actually correct. Scorch is a high health, high damage character with low mobility. It's just how he gets that damage out that really depends. And the same thing with Northstar with the high damage, high mobility. However, if Ion is able to deal the same amount of damage with the laser shot that Northstar is, why is it that Ion has always been at a 1-star, at a low level damage Titan? And she is the only one with that low of a damage. You can see Scorch, Northstar, Ronin's a double star, Tone's a double star. She's the only Titan right now, because we still don't know about Monarch, she's the only Titan right now that was already considered to be a low damage character. Though we clearly see she was able to use her laser shots to deal more damage in a period of time faster than Northstar, but somehow Northstar is considered a higher damage. Now, a lot of people could say it's just the splitter rifle mode, though Legion is also classed as a high damage character, and he has a power shot that's very similar to Northstar's. Basically, it's a Northlard. And that's the thing, is that he has the same high amount, well, same. It's only 3 stars. There's not that much to, like, go over to relate. That's the thing, is that when it came down to Ion, Ion is a weak character, but when it came down to how Ion was played before, Ion was always played with Laser Shot. Laser Shot was the main course of damage. That's never how it should work. Every single Titan, except for Scorch, because we can get into that later, is that every single Titan, their main damage always came from their primary weapon. When it came to Northstar, it was always the primary weapon, especially for Northstar. For Scorch, it's a bit more different, so I won't get too deep into that. For Ronin, his main damage came from his shotgun. Tone, this is a bit of a different story as well, and I'll get into it in a little bit. And then, of course, you have Legion in his gun, because his gun's, like, basically everything for him. He doesn't really even have an interesting chassis. But that's the thing, is that when they talk about low damage, they are talking about the splitter rifle in itself. But here's the thing, is that Ion, at the time, like I said, could not be countered. She either could easily counter, such as how she could counter Northstar, and how she could counter Legion, for that matter. but then at other times she was able to be well matched against other Titans such as Tone or other Titans such as Ronin, and sometimes she would easily counter Scorch. But as said, like, and just because I'm a low level Ion doesn't mean that I don't know how Ion works. I've played Ion a lot, like way during the, if you want to call it the alpha tech test, if you want to call it. And I also started playing Ion quite a lot during the beginning of the game. I did stop playing Ion for a bit. Like, I always made sure that I got every single character, like Titan-wise, up to Generation 2. You can clearly see I'm a North Star fan. So the fact that I'm defending Ion here and saying that everything is okay and that Ion is still playable, like, to be totally honest, this is a little bit extreme. But when at the very beginning of the game said that Ion was going to be a low damage character, you kind of already expected that. So Ion used to be just a jack of all trades character, but now she is a jack of all trades and a master of none, which is very important because that's the thing, is that her being a master of none basically means that they balanced her. She doesn't need any more nerfs. She's perfectly fine now when it does come out with the laser shot nerf. And until we see the direct damage that Laser Shot has, Laser Shot will still be useful against a North Star. Maybe not as powerful as North Star's shots, but you know, you can peek around a corner, shoot the Laser Shot, and boom, there you go. There's not a lot of Titans that can do that. North Star can do that, and it's still viable for Ion to have some sort of long-range ability that can deal high damage in a quick and fast pace. Yeah, but Ion is definitely going to be a little bit more harder to master now compared to the other Titans, but her flexibility will still be likely used. And that's the thing, is that now she actually can be countered. Like, directly countered. Because originally, when she fought against Ronin, it could have been a win-win situation, because she could laser shot and possibly hit him if he tried to pull out his sword block to try to use a arc wave or use his shotgun. And the same thing goes for how Ion has a faster melee speed than any other Titan in the game, even faster than Ronin's, which gets Ronin into not hurting her in melee combat. But now she can be directly countered from Ronin, not as much as you would expect. Not like, because when I say counter, I don't mean that it's useless to use that Titan against them, because I can use Legion and beat up a North Star as long as I'm at a distance, because then the Vortex Shield just becomes a regular shield and it can't hit me or whatever. But that's basically just me playing Legion as basically a fat North Star. But like, as I said, like, it's gonna definitely make it so that the kits that you choose are gonna be very important. If you're gonna go more laser shot, then probably go Entangled Energy. I'm probably gonna go either with 0-point Tripwire or Refraction Lens. Refraction Lens is gonna be extremely powerful. And that's the thing too, is that Refraction Lens actually, if you get Refraction Lens, you're basically able to get your core very, very, very quickly. And the idea of the alternate splitter rifle mode is definitely going to be a big change to Titan combat as a whole. So this whole change of Ion is not going to be the highest damaging character or one of the highest damaging characters in the game. She's going to be a low damage character. It's possible... Oh, hello. It's possible that Monarch might be a low damage character, but until we actually see Monarch, we see the exact stats, it's going to be a bit difficult on that part. In the laser shot nerf, like I said, it might not be extremely ridiculous, because they still want to make Ion's laser shot usable, which is why it's an offensive ability, but it's not something that you want to mainly rely on, specifically for the versatile Ion setup. Because you want to rely on the splitter rifle, you don't want to rely on it just because it doesn't, you know, take away energy. You want to rely on it because it's, like, it's there. Because it's a primary weapon that's supposed to be your main damage dealing ability. Of course, like, as I've said in the past, Scorch and Tone, they are completely different compared to Ion in terms of that rule. Because Scorch, all of his weapons, I treat them like tools. Not one of them is like a direct gunplay. No, Monarch is coming out tomorrow on the 30th, so I am definitely going to be excited. I wanted to make this, though, so that I could look back at it and be like, man, look how stupid I was thinking that it would be this crazy of a nerf. Or, look how stupid I was trying to be all optimistic about Ion. But that's the thing, is that when it came down to Scorch, all of his weapons are basically tools. Like, his Thermite Launcher isn't his main course of damage. All of his abilities do damage, which is why I don't really call him a defensive character, even though he's slow and stands still all the time. I just call him a complete offensive character sometimes. Northstar is obviously the main damage dealing is the Plasma Railgun, so there isn't much to talk about there. But Tone, the main damage is usually the tracking rockets. Sorry about that. The main damage for Tone is the tracking rockets, which goes against the whole offensive abilities shouldn't be the main course of damage. But the thing is that Tone, like, a lot of people say that Tone's super good and needs to be nerfed. Some people say Tone is super easy and is easy to defeat. And the thing is that Tone, damage-wise, is probably the most consistent and probably the best at consistent amounts of damage, not high amounts of damage. That goes to Northstar or goes to Legion. Legion is kind of more on the consistent side. But in between a Northstar and a Tone. But while Tone is very consistent, definitely very consistent. She is a skirmishing character, which a skirmishing character basically is a Titan that is all about damage. Because when you think about it, her sonar lock, it gives a lock on, which lets her use her tracking rockets. And her weapon does the same thing with the tracking rockets. And then the salvo core, which, while not being the strongest core in the game, it is definitely that even after she activates her core, she can still shoot. And she can still activate tracking rockets while she has her core available once she fires all the salvos. Which is not something that you see very often, except for Legion, of course, because Smart Core. But it's not something you see very often on a character. And then her only true defensive ability that, like, will absolutely help her in something besides dealing damage is the particle wall, but even then that just protects her so that she can deal more damage. And I'm happy that it's a particle wall and not a gun shield that Tone had, because you see, if Tone had like a gun shield similar to Legion, she would be mobile while she's shooting and be protected, and that would actually make her a lot stronger. So surprisingly enough, Respawn did actually think about balance when it came to Tone, by giving her a particle wall and not something over the top crazy. Let's be totally honest here. Because to be totally honest, a lot of people don't really use particle wall effectively. Like, they'll place it down and then they'll move out of the way of it the minute they activate it, and then that's just kind of annoying. Really, really annoying. I don't understand, but for me, I think Ion is going to be awesome. I'm definitely going to be playing her for a bit. I'm going to be playing Monarch first. I'm definitely going to be making a stream specifically for Monarch. Yeah, because that's the thing, is that Tone originally was just really over-the-top powerful. Her core was powerful, which was one thing, and the fact that she was able to hit pilots and she didn't need that much accuracy. The increase in accuracy and the decrease in the core damage was perfect, to be totally honest. Because the thing is because she's so consistent, she doesn't need her core to be over-the-top powerful if she already has such great regular consistency. So that is very true, and I think Tone is pretty good. It's all about damage output before defensive ability. That seems to come into play. And, like, that's the thing, too, is that Legion hasn't really even been nerfed or buffed yet, which I think is fine, because Legion right now just seems like the most balanced character right now. I don't understand why. Like, all of the other characters, they have something that's wrong with them, except for Northstar. I personally believe Northstar is good, but I might be biased, because I'm, like, Generation 10 on Northstar. I might be a little biased there. Scorch does need some help. Ion, after the laser shot nerf, like, a lot of people are crying about it, but the thing is that, like, I've seen people who don't even need laser shot, and at least Ion will be nerfed, because Ronin will now have a chance of beating Ion a lot more better than before, because the laser shot was the main problem that Ronin had to face. For Tone, it might be a little bit more difficult, because the thing is that without using the laser shot too much for extreme combat, and not just for long-range combat, you didn't get your Vortex Shield very often. Now Ion has the Vortex Shield more often. When it comes down to Legion and Ion, like, people say that Legion is weak against Ion, but the thing is that Legion is actually I wouldn't say that he's stronger than Ion, even with the laser shot nerf, but he is now a equal Titan, and it just depends on where you are as Legion. If you're up close and personal against an Ion as Legion, you're absolutely going to get destroyed right now. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that Scorch, like I said, he doesn't play personal gunfight. He's very situational. I don't want Scorch to become a, oh, I have the ability to kill other Titans like any other Titan can, because that just kind of ruins the whole point. Well, that's the thing too, is you don't just have to shoot the Vortex Shield. What you can also do is you can stay at a distance, because you see is that the Vortex Shield has a certain range limit. So if you're in long range mode, pretending to be the Fat North Star that Legion can be, and you're shooting bullets at Ion, all Ion's doing is blocking the bullets, not hitting them back at you. And you have that large ammo capacity that also counteracts with that. And now that Laser Shot has been nerfed, it means that Legion will have a better chance of beating Ion at a distance. So Legion is not a direct counter, but definitely balanced. It depends where you are. If you're up close and personal with Ion, then you're pretty much doomed if you're going to try to shoot him with a bullet, with bullets. And that's the thing too, is that Monarch also will have a ballistic weapon, and she is more likely going to be affected by this nerf, like, negatively. Yeah, it's very possible to do cross maps. I think I did 1 or 2 cross maps, and it was probably like the most easiest one to do. Never got a kill for it, but I dealt so much damage to them. They freaked out. They left the game. They thought I was hacking. You know, good stuff. You know, it's Titanfall community. No, but Ion's definitely going to be very good, very interesting. And, like, it already says that she's a low damage character right at the very bottom, and usually game stats aren't correct, but they are pretty correct now, let's be totally honest here. Yeah, so that's basically just how it works, and when Monarch comes out, I'm definitely going to be talking about Monarch. Personally, I think Monarch is going to be, I guess you could say, like, the squishy caterpillar of the group, when she doesn't have her core, because that's the thing, is that without her core, I believe that she can be countered by just about any singular Titan. Scorch, it's hard to tell, especially because Scorch isn't the type of person to have regular gunplay, unlike all the other characters, so he's really difficult to explain whether or not he counters, he's balanced, or if he can counter the Titan that he's fighting. So it's very difficult in terms of how to explain Scorch that way. But the whole fact that Ion gets the Vortex Shield is countering Monarch in a sense, because now Monarch has a ballistic weapon similar to Legion, but the only difference is that Monarch also has rockets like Tone. The two Titans that have a huge problem with the Vortex Shield are literally kind of mixed together into this little Monarch baby that's going to get absolutely destroyed by Ion's Vortex Shield. And you could say you could stop shooting the Vortex Shield because, you know, that's obviously something you can do. But that's the thing, is that Monarch is not a heavy, like, doesn't have a large ammo capacity. Yeah, and yeah, Scorch is way more situational, which is why I can't, like, if he's in the situation that he's in, he can be more powerful than just about any other Titan. But if he's not in the situation, he can be very weak. So it's kind of hard to say as to, like, what do I decide to choose between the two as how he should play. So it's very difficult on that part. But, like, that's the thing, is that Monarch is going to have, like, 30 rounds, and then Legion has 100 rounds. Like, Monarch doesn't have that choice to stop shooting and then play the Vortex game, because she's going to have to reload a lot more sooner, which then puts her at a disadvantage. And any bullets that she does shoot, she doesn't have a gun shield or something that can protect her when she does make that mistake. So there is that whole problem that also comes into play. Let alone that Ion has a fast punching speed compared to any of the other Titans, which makes her be more viable in melee combat against, say, a Ronin. But now Ion, after the nerfs, will be able to be countered by Ronin directly a little bit more, because Ion and Ronin were just equal. It was never that... Ion never really had a counter. It was either you had a Titan that was of equal match, or you had a Titan that Ion could easily counter. Now, Ion might have a couple different counters, such as Ronin. Legion would be balanced. Tone is very hard to say right now, because of the whole Vortex Shield and how it might be more often. North Star might be either a counter to Ion, or North Star might be equal to Ion, and then Scorch is situational, so I can't get into that. And Monarch most likely will be weaker than Ion, just because, like I said, her upgrade core is the most important thing. It's what makes her powerful. And she's going to be that caterpillar that everyone is going to be picking on if you're in a team comp with a bunch of different Titans and, like, say, Last Titan Standing. They're going to pick on the Monarch before she decides to grow into a giant butterfly and absolutely shoot laser beams from her eyes and freak out and like cause a berserker rage mode or something crazy like that. Now, I did want to talk about a couple of other things. Like, I do have my own classes as well. But, first off, and yes, I do use the Volt, even after it was nerfed. But there's another thing is that they did buff, or they are going to, I shouldn't say did, they haven't done that yet until tomorrow. They are going to buff the Volt's damage, and they're going to nerf they're going to add some view kick and some recoil to make it less accurate. Personally, I already liked the Volt the way it was. And, like, if it wasn't already obvious, is that this class was very much reminiscent of Ion. And the thing is that I just like treating the Volt like a splitter rifle, and how it was low damage, how it was still reliable at any distance. It was just really low damaged, and it didn't have the consistency that other weapons did. The fact that they're increasing the damage and the recoil to make it into an SMG, it's not the most greatest thing that it's not the most thing I would have liked. I personally like the Volt the way it was, and a lot of people are going to use it more. Like, you'd be surprised how many people I've been able to kill with the Volt easily because of the accuracy that the Volt already has. And the increase in recoil will definitely make it so it's not so great at, like, range or the view kick. But even then, like, the increase in damage might be a very big problem. Like, I'm able to take out cars, R97s, and alternators at close distances with this nerfed Volt. Because of how accurate it is, I'm not going to be missing shots, unlike, say, an R97, or, say, an alternator, or a car, though the car is a little bit more different than that. Though we'll have to see how it turns out. If they are going to buff it, that's fine. It just means that I get more than 30 kills in a match with a nerfed Volt. I get something a little bit more easier, or maybe a little bit more difficult. Depends on how you play it, of course. They also are going to, They are going to buff the R201 and the R101 in far range damage. I think it isn't too bad, because that's the thing, is that the R101 and the R101 and the R201 carbines, originally in the first game, they were very accurate and they were usable at long range combat. Not as usable as the G2, of course, from the first game, but these are not as great. Like, it really feels like the R201 and the R101, they're easy to use, but they're not the best, because, you know, the flatline is stronger, or the G2 is stronger at distance, or the flatline is stronger at medium range, or the Hemlock is stronger at those kind of medium range to long distance ranges. And then you had where the SMGs could beat it at close range. Now it's going to be that it's more viable than just this, like, small box in medium range, that it's actually usable before it becomes not usable anymore. So it's going to be a more versatile weapon, but it's not going to be overpowered, because it's just far distance. It's only far range damage, which, because of how low the damage is and the whole recoil being a lot more heavier than, say, the Volt, it might not even make much of a difference. It might make it a little bit more reliable, but beyond that, I'm not sure. They did nerf the flatline. They nerfed the close range damage, supposedly, or they just nerfed the damage in general. I still think that the flatline is going to be a 3-shot kill, but because when a lot of people think about damage and how it's being reduced, a lot of people think of, oh, it's going to be changed from 3 shots to 4 shots. But actually, I believe that the flatline is going to be nerfed in terms of damage to the point where headshots aren't as reliable. Because by doing so, because a lot of people, when they get headshots with the flatline, it's kind of like the alternator, where it's like 2 shots just by a headshot and then a regular body shot. If they reduce the damage to where it doesn't do that, then it will make the alternator more reliable in medium range, better than the Volt. I mean, better than the flatline at medium range in terms of its headshot accuracy, but at the same time will make it so that the flatline doesn't instantly tank people at a distance, where headshots become somehow more easier. Hello. Yeah, what else is there to look at? Oh yeah, the R97 and its far range nerf. I'm actually quite excited for this, because for whatever reason, because I used to do a lot of sniping. If it wasn't obvious, I tried to get to Generation 10. I did so much sniping that for whatever reason, it was things like the G2 and things like the R97 that somehow got me. And it was more towards the R97, and I got really, I wasn't very happy at the fact that the R97 was able to consistently kill me at a distance than a sniper rifle could. And sometimes I would even think that the R97 is overpowered. Technically, I don't believe there's any overpowered weapon. It's just how strong they are. So, like, even the G2, I don't believe the G2 is overpowered. I'm not a fan of the G2. like, to be totally honest, I am not that big of a fan when it comes to the G2 because of the fact of how much of a pain it became for me using sniper rifles. But, like, as I said, like, the G2 isn't powerful. It's strong. It's not overpowered. It's very powerful at long-range combat, which is annoying because it shouldn't be, which is why it does need a nerf, but it's not overpowered to where it can tank people at close range either. Actually, that's exactly why they nerfed the P2016. Going into the P2016, they nerfed the far damage, and then they tweaked it so that it would be able to attack at long distances, but that damage would also be low. Now, like I said before, a lot of people think, oh, it's going to be one more shot than usual. If it is one more shot than usual, to where it's a 5-shot kill pistol, I don't really see that being too much of a problem. Like, people could easily get killed by a P2016 because of just how fast you can fire it and the amount of damage that it dealt. Even people who had the silenced pistol. Like, I used a silenced P2016 like 2 days ago, absolutely destroyed someone who had an R97, and these people were aware that I was there, and I was not aware that they were, like, hearing me. And I still killed them with the silenced P2016, which would be 5 shots. If it does become a 5-shot, that's fine. If it's reduced headshot damage, which it might be that, then I can understand that. Because that's the thing, is that if they reduce the damage, it might only affect headshots. And by doing so, because, like, when you get headshots with this weapon, which it isn't that difficult to get headshots with the weapon, like, you'll get them accidentally because of just the mixture of the recoil and the constant spamming and firing of the weapon, or whatever, is that it deals a lot of damage. It can make this weapon into a 2 to 3 shot kill weapon. And that's just by spamming it. So that's extremely ridiculous, and it's basically a pocket G2. And a lot of people who use the G2 usually go with this pistol. I personally don't. I use the G2 specifically to copy off of Tone, because, you know, Pulse Blade, Frags, Tone, you know, I go with all that, and then I go with Hardcover, because I like playing with, like, classes similar to a Titan. It stinks that Tone... what you missed? Well, we talked about Ion, and I talked about how I'm not too worried about the damage because the damage was already considered a low-class damage weapon. I talked about how Ion is definitely going to have some counters now instead of being just equal or counter themselves. You can go check in the back of the stream if you need to. We talked about how Tone and Legion are going to be different. We talked about some of the changes to the Titan general balances. We also talked about the obvious nerfs to Ion. We talked a bit about, like, Titans and kind of their strengths against Ion and how that's going to be affected for the laser shot nerf. And we already talked about the Volt and how I really didn't see it needing a buff because of just how powerful it was to me. But I'm not going to not welcome a buff to the Volt. And I also talked about how the R97 and how the far damage range was definitely needed. And we were just getting into the P2016 nerf, which will be the headshots, but there's also a tweaking of there being a farther range damage. Now, I'm not too upset about this. I use the P2016 quite a bit. I think it was like the first weapon, because that's the thing, is that the Hammond P2016, I got to Generation 5, and then I stopped using it for about a month, and just moved to the R97. I mean, the RE45, R97. The RE45, which is now at Generation 6 because I've been using it for so long. I do need to still get used to the Wingman Elite. But getting back into what I was saying is that there's 2 ways that they might be doing this. Is that when you think about it, when you nerf a weapon, such as, say, the Volt, for example, they nerfed the Volt so much that it was put into a bad position. Well, a bad position by people's eyes. I think it was a pretty good position, in my opinion. And I use the Volt quite a bit. But the P2016, it was very spammy. It was very, well, it still is, because, you know, the patch hasn't came out yet. But the P2016, it isn't like that bad of a weapon. It's definitely reliable compared to others because it has the accuracy that the Wingman and the Wingman Elite would have in terms of range, but it also has that kind of close range damage that the Mozambique and the R97 have. It's kind of in the middle of those two. But that's the thing, is that when it came down to yeah, sorry for saying so many times. I'm not that great at commentary for anyone who isn't aware of that. But oh, cool. But when it came, I just noticed how much I'm saying right now. Okay, so anyway, is that they might be using the P2016 specifically as a test, because when you think about it, the P2016 is very similar to the G2 in terms of its semi-automatic, its almost exact fire rate, and the fact that they're both very spammy weapons. The only difference is their damage, but even then their consistency in the ranges that they're good at definitely comes down to it. And they could be using the P2016 as a test to see if it's still reliable as a pistol when they do this nerf. Because if that does work, then they might reduce the long-range damage of the G2, and it would still be viable, if you kind of get my drift when I'm trying to say that. And if the nerf is not good, they might buff the P2016 back into like an original state or give it something new, or they'll leave the P2016 and they'll do something else with the G2 instead of nerfing the damage. So, you know, there's this whole different type of style. We really aren't, I'm not Respawn, so I can't exactly say like what they are and what they aren't doing. And I think there was one other thing that came into play, which was... Oh, man, I'm just having a horrible time today. Oh yeah, the devotion, there we go. Man, I completely forgot about it now that I think about it. But for the devotion now will... So when you shoot the devotion, what will happen is that it will have less damage now. It has less near damage and damage in general for both it when it's amped and when it's not amped. So now you'll actually have to rev up or increase or have the faster fire rate of the devotion in order for it to be as effective as the Spitfire. So it's a lot more... Now the devotion isn't going to be that great for aggressive combat, so like people running around with phase shift and people running around with a devotion and phase shift or some crazy combination that I'm not aware of that can be with a devotion. And like be really aggressive with it with hip firing and all that other stuff. Now it's going to be more of a defensive weapon, similar to kind of like Legion when you think about it. Like with the whole having to spin up the shots before it becomes usable. So now you have less reactive capabilities, which makes you have to play more defensively and play in an area where people can come to you instead of you going to them. So I'm definitely excited for this because now the devotion won't seem as powerful as a offensive weapon compared to something like the Spitfire. So I'm definitely looking forward to using the devotion once again after just how long it's been since then. And who knows, maybe I'll even add it to my defender class instead of the Spitfire. Yeah, like, to be totally honest, I enjoy the devotion because originally I always used the devotion as a defensive weapon. I never used it at extreme distances because I wasn't aware of that. I never used it at extreme distances. I always used it for suppressive fire with an AWOL or something. Not so that I could kill people, but that's so I could deter people away and then get my team pushing forward, which was always kind of the thing. Yeah. It definitely was powerful because of the whole revving up thing, and even after the reduce in damage and recoil and all that other stuff, this reduction in damage, which hopefully is a little bit more extreme, and it needs to be extreme because of how fast the fire rate can get, is that it will hopefully, because they didn't even say slightly reduce the damage, but hopefully it will make it so that it will have to be revved up and have to become faster before it's even reliable. So, you know, a defensive devotion doesn't seem too bad. A lot of people are mad at the fact that the G2 was not nerfed, and the G2 definitely does need its nerf, but as I've said before, the P2016 might be a test to see if that's the right way to go with a spammy semi-automatic weapon in terms of its engagement ranges. And the G2 isn't overpowered, I'd say. The G2 is powerful, don't get me wrong. Like, me defending the G2 would seem like... I'm not defending it, per se. It is strong, it isn't overpowered. And this is coming from someone who's been killed by so many G2s when I'm doing snipers only for 2 months now. So, like, you know I'm not being biased when it comes down to this. Even if I do have a slightly higher level, but that's because I've been using the Tone class and there's no other semi-automatic weapon. Which I really would like another semi-automatic weapon. But, that's the thing, is that the G2, it's definitely strong. It does need a nerf in terms of range or a increase in recoil, you know, something like that. But if it, oh, nothing, we're just talking about, some patch notes here, and my opinions on them, and we can start a discussion and start conversing about what will happen when it comes out tomorrow, which I will, hopefully, if my internet is lovely enough and treats me right and lets me be able to stream it tomorrow, I won't exactly be very happy if I don't get to stream it tomorrow. Like, I will stay up all day. I'll even stay up early in the morning just so that I can make sure that the stream works. And I want to try to activate the stream before the DLC or patch appears, because if it appears like as I'm having the stream up and the stream doesn't work, then I don't have that much time to like keep doing it, because I want to get it out as soon as possible. But at the same time, I'm not expecting many people to watch because of the fact that people do want to try out the DLC themselves. So, you know, it's a whole mixed bag, and I just kind of want to put it out there, not just as a stream, but as a video, for just people who want to see it in their spare time. But, yeah, but definitely the GT will probably be nerfed. It just depends on when and as to how, to make it not weak, to make it not overpowered. There is no exact time. Like, if you remember the glitch in the Frontier DLC, which I think I had a stream of, I waited so very long for the stream to come out, and for the DLC to come out, and it never came out. Yeah, a bigger Titan will probably be released. Because that's the thing, is that, like, what else does Respawn have to do for DLC? Because when we think about it, we have all of the primes for every single one of these Titans. Monarch might not even have a prime. If there is a prime for Monarch, then we probably just check the store to like see if Monarch has anything in terms of that. And sorry for this box that keeps repeating. Someone is spamming me, which might not turn out very well for them when I decide to report them. But I'm very generous right now, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, but that's the thing, is that I love Titan combat. Like, I've been getting into Titan combat a lot more than pilot combat. So, like, if you watch my Titan gameplay, like, when I first started doing Titanfall, and if in my pilot gameplay when I first did Titanfall, it's completely different to where I'm not as great with pilot combat, unless it's sniping. Like, I love sniping. I can't stop sniping. It's just too fun for me. But when it comes down to, like, Titan combat, I'm so much more better with it. Ion was always one of the more difficult Titans for me. And the reason for that is that I just didn't like using laser shot very much, so I always went for, like, refraction lens, as I've said before, or I'd go for 0-point tripwire. And there supposedly is a glitch for it. I'm not aware of how to do the glitch. I don't want to do the glitch, because, you know, I'm not one of those people that would want to do that. So, you know, all that type of stuff. But, you know what? How about we try playing a game? You know, this is going to be a little test. This stream might absolutely end, on a side note, this stream might absolutely end just because of my own. Imagine if Monarch was BT. Yeah, that's the thing, is that what's really cool is that it said that there was 2 burned down Titans that Monarch was based off of. And what's really weird is, remember that one, remember when BT, when you got captured, BT had the arc in him and he wasn't going to open up and you were going to get shot in the face? What happened to BT when, you know, a fire broke out? Oh man, I just gave it away. But that's the thing, is that the Ark exploded and it supposedly destroyed everything, including the facility that both FS 1041 and BT 7274 were on. But there also was in Trial by Fire, which I should show. How about that? I'm gonna go show that. Is that in Trial by Fire, is that there was, I'm just gonna put it on easy because I'm not too worried about it. But Trial by Fire, when you're dropping from this mission, you'll see Monarch. You'll see, well, not Monarch, but you'll see Titans that are quote-unquote called Monarch. Now, the thing is let me get back down here. There's a bit of echo. You have Titans that are, like, branded as Monarch. Oh, I'm gonna probably stream. I'm probably gonna stop streaming today at some point. Oh yeah, I do have Friday the 13th though, like the game, so I definitely want to try streaming that. That will be fun to try out on it.
Listen up.
That'll be fun to. That'll be fun to try out. But what's really cool is that you can even see here what Sarah Briggs' Titan is. It's MOB 1316 or 1316.
Marauder Corps, weapons hot.
That's really nice to know. You got Mob. M-O-B. But, no, but you have Titans over here. To the left, if you look, and you'll see the word Monarch here when I look down. Monarch right there. There goes Monarch. Okay, let me, it's not that Monarch would be used. I go here. You can see they don't even have the red skin like the Monarch did.
Unless we take out those cannons,
but they are clearly using the abilities that Monarch would be using. I think what it means by this being Monarch is that it said that there was bad Titans that were being used. Monarch never created because Monarch wasn't created during this period in the campaign. It means that the only Titans that are being equipped as was the IMC used.
Keep moving.
Because you can even see the previous Titans right now. Why are they not using it? To defend against Titanfall.
We got Reapers. L7, turn it around.
Yeah, but I definitely can't wait for Monarch though.
Watch your six.
Can't wait for Monarch though. Like, it'll be very, very interesting to try her out. The little chubby caterpillar that all Monarch have. I'm having difficulty concentrating while doing the reason for that is because of the 4 Titans that are, I guess you could say, like, not that they are in Monarch. Hopefully you guys can hear me, because... Oh, okay, that's good to know. Yeah, actually, someone else who is actually in my household said the exact same thing about how they can't hear the stream, you know, because they have to keep watching me all the time. But, yeah, I'm just gonna have my mic a little bit closer because I can't ever fix that. I just live. But even right now, like all of this is awesome. Just like to have a Vanguard, like it's not a true Vanguard class, like a PT or a MOB 1316 or anything crazy like that. But it's not like horrible either. Yeah, like it's getting very interesting. I'm getting really focused on.
First floor activated. Down.
Boy, militia. Going high.
Pilot, you're with me.
Game music lower. Actually, I never thought about that. Jeez, finally. Yeah, let me turn that down just a bit. Sound effects right there. That should work.
Into the tunnels.
Is that better?
Spread out! Tighten at the blast door!
No, not really. The difference between Monarch is that you can see I have technically 5 bars of health with an overshield. Monarch is actually going to have 4 bars of health without an overshield to start out with. And the reason for that is that it's like a little prepped up Atlas Titan, think about it. Because it's going to be basically an Atlas Titan with 1 dash and 5 bars of health. You know, this very basic stuff.
Watch out, IMT Titans up ahead.
And it's not going to have a Vortex shield. This is an Expedition class that's made because the difference between the Vanguard class Titan is that you could switch between classes because of how powerful its AI was. The problem is that even after how powerful its AI is that they couldn't directly copy it. The upgrade core is probably the closest thing. And another thing is that they took the Exo-16 chain gun, which is what I'm using right now, and they basically used the Exo-16 chain gun, and they made it so that it could be augmented and upgraded, which is something that this Exo-16 chain gun can't do, so... There are some things that are great about the Expedition, not so great. And I think that the Expedition should never be brought into the game. The reason for that is that it would make Ion's like whole vortex shield pretty useless,
Got
to
to
be
get to that
honest.
ship before it takes off. Take those Titans out, pilot. Move it, pilot. Move it!
This is your last stop, pilot.
Salvo core ready. Enemy Titan down.
Yeah, but like certain classes, like the thing is that they won't make exactly the same. They won't make exactly the same class.
Down on you, piece of crap.
But they definitely, like, there's a whole character called Bison, and I think I deleted the video that I made. It was on accident, so it's more of like a rerun. But I made a video talking about Bison, Arkin, and Monarch, and how Bison is supposed to be a melee Titan. They were working on Bison before, like during the development of Titanfall, they wanted to make a melee ogre-based Titan, which is what Prime Scorch is. Prime Scorch is actually what they originally wanted Bison to look like, which is why the whole execution is kind of reminiscent of explosive punches or whatever.
That was the easy part.
And that's the thing too, is that out of all of the designs, Scorches just seem so different.
Well, you're doing a good
Scorches
job,
just seem
Cooper.
so
as far
different
as I'm concerned, you've earned your
compared
pilot
to all the other
certification.
Prime Titans. Because of those large gauntlets and stuff, it doesn't really feel like it would be
Now let's
Scorch
finish
based.
this thing and get home. There
Man,
she
do I
is.
love Titan
We still
combat.
have time to intercept the Ark.
And that's the thing too, is that what I think Monarch is going to be so interesting, because that's the thing, is that even if Monarch has the upgrade core, you don't really know how powerful Monarch will still be, because people have to work on customizing that Titan to be a certain way. Because you have to customize that upgrade core, and there's people who literally will customize the most ridiculous things in Titanfall, and I'll just be sitting there thinking as to why, and I don't get my answer.
Titan down.
Yeah, what's really weird is that in the campaign, the plasma railgun can like take away like about 3 bars of health, if I remember correctly.
Flight core ready. Flight core
Launching
activated.
salvo core.
Keep pushing forward. We cannot let the Ark leave on that ship.
Offline.
Being very quiet right now. Just getting really focused because I'm playing as a North Star stuff, and I don't want to mess up.
Keep moving.
One. Detecting hull damage. Push your Titan down. Enemy Titan down.
I have to change into... If I die, I will start back.
Firing soul.
And that's the thing too, is that Ronan right now, he does need a nerf, not like a basic combat nerf, he's perfectly fine on that level. He needs a nerf to his sword block in terms of damage reduction against swords, and possibly against thermite, just in case of balancing for... Because right now, you can sword block a thermal shield, make it so that his thermal shield is gone, and then he can't even protect himself, let alone how slow he is. Right now, he's pretty balanced, because unlike Ion,
Titan down. Enemy Titan
See
down.
you in hell, pilot. Almost far away.
exactly. This is usually the means of a large amount of health, but that's the thing, is that like for Scorch or any other Titan, like you can basically just hold down your sword block and save up your cores.
Titan down. Sword core ready.
Yeah, but you know, it's very interesting.
Moving on the
Definitely
Draconis.
very
Keep
creative.
going.
Well, I feel like because you can always have sword block like always active, I feel like that would not be so great. It's kind of like saying, hey, if I took damage, because that's the thing too, is actually it does do that, actually. Is that when you take damage, you do gain your score a little bit quicker. And sword block would have the same exact thing. Or it's a lot more reduced. Because you're not taking damage. I don't know.
Flight core offline.
All militia forces, move in on the Draconis.
Do you know how to make people mod yet? I don't understand exactly what that means. Could you like refer to what that exactly means for me? Because I think I know what it means, but I don't want to go straight into
Handle
thinking.
yourself well with grunts. Go for something good.
I don't want to go straight into thinking. I'm using a thermite glitch that lets me shoot my thermite launcher. It's the minute that your grenade touches
Draconis is almost fueled. Move.
the
They're escorting
loading,
here. We don't
that it
have
will
much
shoot
time.
like that, then that, like that. It's a little trick here. I'm like releasing a couple. I'm releasing like a scorch demon right now. Like you can see just how much damage that dealt. It's ridiculous, insane.
Activating flame core.
Oh, how to make people moderator. Oh, now that I think about it, no, I haven't. I don't even think I've done it. You can just see how ridiculous
Final
that
launch
is.
checks complete. All systems go.
They're taking off. We need to get to that ship. Don't let them get away. Get to that ramp.
Yeah, but it doesn't let me do that, and I get really mad about that as well. Like, I know how to put people in timeout, but that's probably, like, the only thing I know what to do. It won't give me the option to do it, which is super annoying. Okay, let's just do some regular Last Titan combat. Yeah, but it's going to be very interesting, because things like Entangled Energy and Refraction Lens are going to become a part of the meta when Ion is released. When Ion is released, with the new nerf, Refraction Lens and Entangled Energy are definitely going to be a part of the meta a lot more. And it actually will make not having Refraction Lens, like, still usable. Like, when you think about it, like, the alternate firing mode usually was considered to not be usable because 2 laser shots could deal more damage. And that's the only way you were able to, the only way you were able to get more damage is if you use the alternate firing mode. No, I'm fine. I don't really like getting shout-outs. It's just I've had to turn down multiple people, but thank you anyway for the hello. Okay, so what are these guys doing? And it's weird too, because all these guys are like, how many of these guys are Ion? Trash. We have Crash, we got a Ronin. We got someone who was a Titan. Probably. We got an Ion, another Ion. We had another Ion. Was there 4 Ions on my team right now? And that's the thing too, is that like I don't want to use, because you'll see like how powerful Laser Shot gets, and how much of a game changer it is for Ion. But I don't really like using Ion. I could go for North Star, but that's only for like absolutely necessary. How about let's try using. Let's use Tone. Let's just make everyone mad. Unless everyone doesn't really care about it, I'm just gonna try Tone. Here's a Tripwire. Yeah, because you can see right there that the laser shot is supposed to be used for a distance. Oh, I would love to do that. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that a lot of people sorry about that. I was talking. Sorry about that. I was talking in game. That's extremely embarrassing. I can't. Oh, man. Everyone's probably thinking I'm crazy or something. I'm gonna go over here just in case. Yeah, this Scorch is having a hard time. But that's the thing, is it's all about positioning and... Yeah, that's 3. Let's, see? Right there. Like right now, I'm just gonna stall them and let everyone else get flanking onto them. Because right there, that's the laser shot problem that seems to occur. I just lost 2 bars of my own health. See?
Take cover.
That's the big problem, is that he's gonna shoot another one, and then I can't do anything about it. Except for pull up the gun shield last second. See? Look at that. And then I can't lock on in time, and then the locks keep redoing. I'm trying to push. Let me try pushing first. Push forward. Yep, this was absolutely ridiculous. Nope. Okay, this is a bit cheesy, but I'm going for it. Deal with that. I'm just gonna eject. Forgot that I'm using this class. I'm using a G2. Everyone's gonna be mad. Yeah, and that's the thing. I didn't even know I was using a G2 class. Okay, I need to switch my melee class. That could... If I was in a situation where I really wanted to be using my engineer class and I was not using it, man. Let's change Titans, because we're playing as so many big characters right now. This is ridiculous. I'm going to have to play as a Ronin. I don't want to play as an Ion, because I really want to try not to get used to playing Ion with the laser shot problem. But like we'll even see here, like I'm not even expecting to win. But we'll see just how absolutely crazy you can get. So like right here we got a Scorch. Just gonna move on. That's the thing, is I want to try to help this. I want to help this North Star. Back. I gotta reload. So this guy's just gonna stay back. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna move because I know this guy's gonna come over here, so I'm just gonna reload. Okay, now we want to move here. I want to try to use my sword block a bit.
Titan attacking your target. Heavy damage sustained.
Ah, dang it, I was gonna eject. Ah, well. Yeah, I can't seem to do that right now. Like, I've tried. There's no 3 dots for me, so... it's just acting crazy. The fact that we're all playing a bunch of Scorches is not helping. But you know what? It's gonna be different once the Ion nerf comes into play. So we'll see how many people start playing Ion, and how many people stop playing Ion because they're afraid of the nerf. Yeah, but you wouldn't really see much of a phase execution. Not a lot of people outside would see the execution. Personally, any execution for me that's new is a good execution. Okay, that's just how it is for me. I'm just grateful that we have a new execution, and not where it's like, okay, let's just copy off the same execution. So it's better than nothing. I'll be totally honest. I'm not worried about like executions or whatever. I'm still gonna get the bulk of the primes, which is why I will do a review on the primes, and maybe some gameplay with that. That'd be pretty nice. Which I think that's why I had all of the Titans without their skins on, so that I could see all of them without their skins, what they look like as a prime Titan, versus what they look like as a regular, in their base forms. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see that. I guess we're just gonna have to. I really don't even know what to do now with the Ion situation that's appearing. And it doesn't help that a lot of people are playing as Scorches. Oh yeah, and Monarch. Monarch first before anything. I want to try to get to Monarch to Generation 2 at the very least, so that I have all the kits available and I can talk about how Monarch should and shouldn't be played. But I'm not going to go out into the open field right now. I'm just going to...
Titans plan attack.
There we go.
Pilot mode online. Multiple Titans engaging multiple sub-cosmos. Sword call activated.
Can't really do much, can he? So now I just put both the Scorches and an Ion. So now...
Friendly Titan attacking your target.
I'm gonna peek around the corner with an Arc Wave. There we go. That's a nice, what's called a fast drop. Okay, as long as I keep this guy away from the team, we're good. There we go, I got him out of his Titan. So now... I'm gonna try to... There's so much epic music going on right now. Ah, well. Yeah, that was a really horrible start. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that without the whole defensive ability, I feel that taking the battery is kind of worth it, because that's the whole thing, is that Monarch is supposed to be a survivability character. And supposedly it will be a kit which is called Data Siphon, which gets core quicker, and getting battery does kind of, get core quicker. But it's a little bit cheeky, It's like who needs to jump out of my pilot and get the battery? I can just be Monarch. I can just steal the battery during an execution, unless they have stealth auto eject or nuclear eject or something. Which I never seem to run either of those. But that's just because I rely on the combat of my Titan, not my failure. So having overcore or turbo engine is a very nice addition to combat. Though I am going to have to get used to playing some Titan combat once again, because I haven't played it very long. I played a bit of Friday the 13th, which I might make a stream today about that and have a bit of fun with it. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. We'll just have to wait on that part. Because if any of you guys don't want to see any Titanfall combat, and you do want to see some Friday the 13th stream, we can stop the stream right here and continue. Oh, that's just the boss. The boss Titans of the campaign always drop like 5 batteries when you fight them, so I think it was the fight with Richter, if I remember correctly. Oh, this map. This is going to be very interesting. So we're going to try to count just how many ions are on the enemy team. Oh, this is a very interesting setup. This will totally not end horribly. Guess we'll go with this and see how that goes from there. My commentary? Oh, that's like telling a baby that... It's like telling a toddler that you're in it for the vocabulary that they have, which is a bit silly to me. No, dang it. Where is it? Ah, great, I just died. Might as well just eject, whatever. Well, people just seem to keep finding me, and I don't know if it's because, I don't want to do, because, my motto is not to do shoutouts, not to do anything crazy. I don't want to create clickbait, and if I do create clickbait, I'm absolutely sorry, because I just went with, the first thing that was, there. Because sometimes I really do feel like I do clickbait, and that's why people just found it, but other times I just feel like it's sprouts, so I'm not sure on that part. Well, it's good to hear that. I'm just relatively positive, and I really don't like keeping a complete opinion. I'm always the thing is that I guess because I'm not always completely positive, and I like to hear other people's feedback, not just my own opinion. And I always like to hear other people's opinions, which is why I like to create some discussions every once in a while. And I really like playing a lot of different games, and I like hearing about the meta. Right now, the meta of the Titans is going to be a lot better after the ion problem seems to subside, as I should say. Well, I used to watch a lot of well, not used to, I still do. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I like to take a lot of people's as inspiration.
Disengage.
Yeah. Not this time. There we go. I was really quiet there. I was so focused. Oh, that's ridiculous. You can just see how focused I was. Ah, dang it. I didn't know I was the last one. I would have stayed alive. This is why I like Titan Brawl. No, I'm not the best. Actually, Dino Sword is a better player, and I learned from him. It's Dino Sword, with a D at the end of Dinosaur, 1, 2, 3. If you look him up, he is a Generation 100 North Star. I'm just very aggressive with North Star, and I like to think very quickly. No, this is why I'm happy that that Titan Brawl is going to be coming back when the Monarch Range DLC comes out, which will be very nice to learn Monarch. Like, I just got really, really lucky. Yeah, like as I said, I'm not. Oh wow, that's another North Star. Go. Oh, I got double teamed, of course. I'm getting double teamed by 2 North Stars. No, the box. Hey, get out of your shield. I'm gonna have to double team in order to win the double team. Ooh, that was a good shot. Jeez. If you just look up Generation 100 North Star, you'll probably find it. Like, he really is the only one, to be totally honest. No, you'll get better. Like, personally, like, people think that you have to play defensive with North Star, but that's the thing, is that your main purpose is you want to be mobile, because that's the thing, is that North Star, out of all of the Titans, North Star is technically the most fastest, not Ronin. Because Ronin is fast, but the sword block slows him down so much that it doesn't really feel that fast, which is why North Star can't outrun Ronin, which doesn't put Ronin in a very good situation. But that's the thing, is that a lot of people say that North Star is a defensive Titan. A lot of people say North Star is an offensive Titan. He's really not either. He doesn't have a direct defense, and he's not very consistent with his damage in terms of offense. He's like a passive-aggressive character where you have to kind of play either really aggressive or really passive, which is why the 2 classes that I'd go for North Star would be either Overcore and Viper Thrusters, which is for aggressive play, or I would go for Twin Tether Traps and Turbo Engine if I wanted to play a little bit more passive and, you know, kind of stay back in the map. Yeah, and it's going to be fun for me to learn how to play Monarch and see just how much more difficult Monarch is going to be. Because that's the thing, is that to counteract North Star's lack of defense. Yeah, because that's the thing, is that North Star, like, the way that North Star can counteract her defense is of how fast she is, because the amount of mobility that she has is what makes her very great. So when you're playing very defensive with North Star, you want to go with the Turbo Engine and Twin Trap combo, you know, to make yourself faster, to make the enemy slower. You know, basic stuff like that. yeah, I can't wait for tomorrow when Monarch comes out. As to when, hopefully somewhere in the middle of the day, because that would be very, very nice on my part. It might be different in terms of time for everyone else, because everyone has their own areas in the world, you know, so on and so forth. Everyone has their different time zones and where they live and so on. So in the middle of day for me would be okay, because I do have like an event that I wanted to pull out for PS4, if anyone's on PS4, because there's been many times I've had to put people down because I'm not on their console, which is upsetting. But yeah, 12 a.m. would be really cool. Anywhere between 12 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time for me is fine. Like, I really don't care. Titanfall for life. Yes. But, yeah, like, let me show the, I'm gonna try to play defensive here. The only time that my passive play, North Star, is ever gonna get destroyed is if there's another Scorch, which becomes a pretty big deal. Let me, there we go. Oh, great. You can just see how great my mobility is. Because right now, I'm increasing my mobility, but decreasing the enemies. So now I need to stay backed up. I'm gonna put that there just so that I'm aware if they try to pass by. That. So right now, I'm not getting closer to them, I'm actually backing up. And luckily, the Ronin, me playing with a Ronin, is gonna shoot right there. The fact that there's a Ronin on their team is really nice, because that allows me to use my passive play a lot more better. But there's so many long-range characters. I'm trying to use this guy as a body shield for me. There we go. Dodge the rocket. There, I got 2 people doomed. Good. Oh, I didn't mean to execute. Oh, get caught. Oh well. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't really watch Dino's streams, and because of that, it's because I don't have Twitch, which I would like streaming on Twitch a bit. But because I don't stream on Twitch, and I don't even have a Twitch account, which I really would like to make one, but I just want to be like careful and like just start out very simple with just the YouTube stream before I go to Twitch streaming, if possible. I'm probably gonna stay on YouTube. But because I don't get to really see a lot of his streams, I only get to see some of his videos because I don't get notifications for it. So I'll check his Twitch and see if he's recording anything. But I'll expect that he did record something. Okay, I'm gonna get the battery. Luckily, there's a tone backing me up, which is nice, and they all spread out a bit. I don't trust that. Okay, we want to keep battery control, so I'm gonna try to stay back here. Oh no, my internet, please no, please no. It's starting to do good. Leave it at that, please. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Yeah. Oh yeah, that stream. Yeah, I remember that stream. I could have went on to that stream, but I don't have anything to donate, and it didn't feel right to like be there and not donate. Like if you know what I mean. So I really wish I could. It would have been nice. see what we can. Let's see what we can do here. So I'm playing very aggressive now. So I'm just gonna. Oh, that doesn't help. He's gonna try to grab the battery. If he tries to grab that battery, he's doomed. Oh, he missed. Dodging. There we go. They just lost their rockets. And they're grouped. It's perfect. Okay, grab that battery though. And you can see right there, that was perfect. Yep, keep it positive. Positive, positive, positive. Yeah, my team was really, really good. Like, even in that one moment where I was by myself, they could have easily just left me. And they didn't. This North Star actually came and assisted me, which was very, very important. And that's very nice. It's very nice to know that there's actually people that are able to be on my team that can change their positioning, which is nice. Okay. That's nice to know. Well, thank you. It's nice to know. Oh no. Here comes a bit more of the comments. Here comes a bit more notifications appearing. Yeah, it's nice to know that you subbed, and you can unsub at any time if you don't like want to sub, because you don't need to pity or anything like that. If you enjoy, because you just joined too, and you don't want to instantly just sub. Yeah, but you don't need to just like join and sub. Like, if you don't enjoy my content, and you don't have to directly sub just to know if my streams are up, because my streams are not just coming up as streams, they're also coming up as recordings as well. Well, that's fine. Well, that's fine. It's just I don't want to force people to subscribe, because that's the thing too, is that just because I always do streams, but I do streams as recordings. So like, if you checked back on the video every once in a while and wanted to look at some stuff, then you can. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I'm reading it. I'm reading it. It's fine if you. It's your opinion, and I'm not gonna just own it. It's your opinion. Well, it's fine as long as I'm somehow entertaining, even if it's my stupidity that's entertaining you. That's fine. At least I'm doing something. Better to do something than nothing, right? Uh-huh. Yeah. Probably. I probably will do like